All right, guys, welcome to the Elevated Limits podcast show. I'm here. I'm your host, Roberto. I got my co-host here,
What's going on? It's Carlos.
Carlos, my guy, Suave Loso. Today we have our first special guest. You are our first official guest, so this is a special.
honored.
Yeah, this is a special moment right here.
Right.
We have Jeremy Lucien. Did I say it right?
Lucien.
Lucien. See, Roz,
You're close.
She
You're
gonna
close.
kill me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. She gonna kill me. Yo, so I was actually looking up your last name on YouTube, and I saw it's French, right? Which makes sense. Your dad is Haitian, your mom is Jamaican. So which side of the family's crazier? That's both two different vibes right there, bro.
That's a tough question. They're both sides are pretty crazy, like in their own way.
Yeah.
So I have spent more time around my dad's side of the family, like just growing up. That's the place where I was going over to.
Okay.
They all live in Brooklyn.
So have you been to Haiti then before?
So that's the thing. I've never been to Haiti or Jamaica, so I don't feel like my. So no shade to them. I mean, they're gonna hear this. They're gonna kill me later. I wish they did a better job.
Damn.
Introducing like me and my
I
brother and
get
sister
that.
like to the culture and stuff. I do plan on. I want to go to both places one day. As soon as I get some good free time, I'll definitely plan a trip down there. That's
Bro, you
that's
gotta go visit. Like, so I'm Dominican, so I know what the Caribbean is like. So we share the island together, the Haitians, and bro, it's like I brought Carlos
It's
with me the
wild.
one
It's
time,
wild
actually,
down
bro.
there. It's crazy.
It's a life-changing experience, bro. Like, your perspective on life changes. Like, Los came with me in
That was
2019.
wild. Yeah, I've been getting all these like Snapchat memories and stuff here now. And it's like 4 years ago was my first time on a plane, first time out the country, and I was like, yo, this is so crazy. Like, but like it was to the point where I couldn't wait to come back home.
It was a culture shock for him. You know what I mean? But he came back with a different perspective. Like, yo, life is good here. As an American, like, we're so grateful, to have the things that we have here.
First thing I did was step in Wawa. I was like, yo, they don't got Wawa down there, but I was like, yo, this is crazy.
All right, so I want to take it back, right? I want to take it back to your childhood and how you kind of got started in playing football. Was it an older relative that you looked up to, or how did you get introduced to the game?
That's exactly what it was. So I was born in Jersey.
What part of Jersey are you from?
Jersey, Teaneck.
Okay.
So my older cousin Donovan is about 5 years older than me. I just said my that side of the family lives in Brooklyn. So every week we would go over watch him play high school football. So I remember at a certain point, I might have been like 6. I came to my parents and said, "Hey, I want to be like Donovan. Can I start playing football like him?"
Oh, that's tough.
So we moved out here to PA just before I turned 7. It was March of 2007. Later that fall, they signed me up for football. I remember like the day, it was maybe a day or two before I was supposed to have my first practice. I remember calling my dad, like I was crying. I started getting kind of scared. Like I told him I was scared that someone was gonna step on my hand or something.
Right.
So he was like, dude, like relax, like that's not gonna happen to you. So my first year was, I sucked. Like I was a space cadet, kind of like not really paying attention. Didn't really know what was going on. It was my first experience playing football because I didn't play flag. I went straight into tackle.
Did they have you on the line like everybody else? Like when you first get there, you don't know what you're doing.
Nah.
You played cornerback right away.
I've played everything except for the line. So I've played corner, linebacker, safety, and all offense, receiver, running back, a little bit of tight end. Didn't play quarterback. I can't throw. My brother actually did. So he was my quarterback for about half of my career I was always like a level ahead of him. So the way that my league worked, it was you play like 2 years at each level. So on my second year of every level, he would always be on the team with me. So he would like be my quarterback every year.
So you said when you first started playing, you were a space cadet.
Yeah.
Right.
But what helped me get better?
I was gonna say, when did you know like
cornerback is my spot?
Cornerback is your spot, and when did you know where like I'm actually pretty good at this?
So, in terms of corner being my spot, I didn't figure that out until high school. But just being good at football in general.
Like when you stepped on the field and you're like, yo, I'm different from everybody else.
So after that first year of youth football,
after your first year, you already know like I'm the one.
So I sucked that first year, but then
that's tough though. That's how you gotta feel.
Leading into that second year, so I have so much respect for my dad for this. He used to commute into New York every day to go to work. He would get up at leave the house at like maybe 4 something a.m. Come back around 6:30 at night. What he started doing was he would get back from work after a long commute. And he would go out in the backyard with my brother and I, and like we would like run routes, do handoffs and stuff, like do all this work.
That's dad of the year right there.
So
after work, he got back at 6 a.m.,
work.
left the house at 4 a.m., came back and he would go outside and throw the rock to you
And
guys.
then sometimes like we'd be inside, like when the weather might not be good, like we'd be inside the house. You see in our kitchen, like it has like the little like kind of window like into the family room or whatever.
Right.
So he would have me run from the kitchen into the family room. My brother would have to like be precise, throw the ball through that little window. My mom would want to.
I ain't gonna lie, that's risky, bro. That's not flying in the Spanish household, bro. Start snapping.
But it helped both of us. It helped me get better at catching the ball. My brother get better at his accuracy, like throwing through like contested balls. So we would do that every single summer. So going into my second year, that helped me make so much improvement. When when was it? I think it was our first scrimmage that year. I maybe scored like 3 or 4 touchdowns. So then I started thinking like, all right, like I'm pretty good at this.
You started to have the confidence, right, that came with it.
And then the rest was history after that.
So you mentioned high school a little bit. I remember in like 2017, I remember you were working out at a private sector that I was working at. I didn't know you at the time, but as you were getting recruited, I remember following your recruiting process a little bit. Like, you're obviously a smart guy, so you were getting recruited by all these Ivy League schools, and then UConn came in and they offered you. My question is, like, what made you decide? What separated UConn from all those other schools? Like, what made them stand out?
First and foremost is the scholarship.
Full scholarship ride,
Yeah.
right?
So that was the first scholarship offer I had gotten at that point. I think before that, I had 3 total offers before I shut down my recruitment. So I had Columbia and Davidson. Neither of those was a scholarship. It was going to be like a financial aid package that I had gotten.
Well, Ivy League schools don't even give full scholarships,
exactly.
right?
So yeah, it would have been financial aid. UConn ended up coming through with the scholarship offer. So I was feeling really good about that. I went to boarding school for high school, and it was in Connecticut, about 50 minutes down the road from UConn. So because I was so close, I was able to actually go visit campus a couple times. So that helped me like get really comfortable with the coaching staff and then the players too. So I'd already been in Connecticut for 4 years. At that point, I was like, 4 more years. I'm used to this. Like 4 more years will be fine. They're in like a pretty good conference, and then also so like you said, I'm a smart guy. Academics has been like a huge part of my life for forever.
Right.
I knew I wanted to study mechanical engineering when I got into college, and UConn has a pretty solid engineering program. So that both of those, like football and then engineering, was like pretty good together.
So when you got on UConn's campus, did you know right away, like off the bat, like this is where I want to go? Did you get that feeling, or was it you're still filling it out kind of deal?
It wasn't immediately. So I was definitely like juggling everything. Initially, I wanted to just let my recruitment play out and see what else came in. But the more I thought about it, the more it just felt like the right place for me, and it was. I definitely think that it was a good decision going.
How was that transition period though, like getting to UConn? Because again, you go from playing high school ball, college football is obviously a lot different. Like everyone's talented, you know what I mean? Like, how was that transition going from high school ball to like Division I ball and playing against some
It was definitely an
dogs?
adjustment. So, like I said before, I didn't really commit to corner until it had to have been maybe my junior year of high school.
Oh, that's kind of late. Yeah.
It was so very late.
So what positions were you playing before that?
Receiver and corner. So I was going both ways.
Okay.
But like I didn't really start to like think about technique at corner until senior year, like that little window. I also didn't start until my senior year of high school.
No, bro.
No,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
So
Yo, if anybody needs motivation right now, understand, if you haven't played up until your senior year, if you ball out,
it's possible.
it is possible. Damn, bro, that's crazy though. So wait, was it just because kids were that talented?
It was a pretty talented league that I was playing.
Okay. So you get to UConn, and what was that adjustment period like then?
So it was tough. So the corner room my freshman year, just the defense in general, something that we were fighting against every single year was how young we were. My freshman year, I think the defense was majority like freshmen and sophomores. So, and especially at the corner position, we were like super, super thin with the depth. Realistically, me and like the rest of the DBs in my class, we should have redshirted, all of us, but we had to play early just because of how thin the room was.
Right.
So because like I didn't really have like a lot of time to work on my craft in high school. Like once I decided to finally like commit to corner, and then also I got injured the 5th day of camp. So I missed like the entire fall. Pretty much the entire fall camp.
What was your injury?
I tore my right labrum.
Oh damn, bro.
So you ain't start till senior year.
So I didn't start till senior year, and I missed. So I for all
Tough.
intents and purposes, I was a high school senior playing against these grown ass men in college.
Yeah. Right.
With no real transition period. Because I obviously wasn't there for spring ball. I didn't get there until the summer, and then I missed all camp. So I went from the end of my senior season of high school, basically not playing any football until the first game that I came back for in the season. So freshman year was definitely an adjustment. I was also engineering, throwing that in with
that
it.
made you're overloaded with work. You know
so
what I'm saying?
I couldn't. That's so I don't regret doing engineering, but it definitely made the football side harder because I didn't have nearly as much time as like other players on my team to like do like extra stuff, like watching extra film, like getting extra work.
I get that.
Because like, I had all this engineering work I had to do, so that definitely held me back a little bit. But it allowed me to learn a lot about myself and like just the workload that I'm able to handle. Because freshman year was a nightmare. But I had a pretty good support system, like helping me out. So like, I had a lot of conversations with my parents, my coaches, like the other staff on the team. So things definitely started to pick up after that year, and I continued to trend upward.
I was gonna say on that note, like if your freshman year was that crazy, it only got easier, right?
In some ways, yes.
What year was your freshman year?
2018, fall 2018.
2018. So like, how did the COVID kind of affect that whole process? Like, did that like dictate a lot of like decisions you made, or how did like the team carry it?
So it was for the team, like it was really weird. Just in general, that was the first time that I know for me. So I've been playing football since I was 7. That was the first time since I was 7 that I haven't played competitively like in the fall. It was just weird, like being a spectator. Like we would have practices and workouts, but number one, we were having these practices, but everybody had like the same thought process. It was like, what are we doing this for? Like, we're not going to play another game until a year from now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, people were trying to like, stay committed, like stay
you
body,
lose
but
that
it's
drive,
kind of
bro.
exactly.
You need
passion,
like
stuff, right?
you go to work, right? You're working, you're grinding every day, but when is payday, right? Like you're waiting for payday.
Exactly. And we were having like Zoom meetings to like go over the playbook and stuff, so people would be like,
nobody's
checked
really
out,
paying
right?
attention, bro. Like, yeah.
And then just like watching everybody else play was very weird. But it was good overall because one, it helped me. Any injuries that I had gotten those first 2 years, it helped me like just recover from all of those because I wasn't like getting beat up for once in the fall. And then 2, so typically like you'll redshirt your freshman year before you have any college experience, and then like you'll start to play after that. What was nice for me and then other people who played early, we got 2 years of experience. And then the redshirt year.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 full years of experience, like to kind of like reflect on things that we did good, things that we did bad, and then we were able to like use that year off to build on that and then come back stronger in 2021. So that definitely helped me have like a really pretty solid season, 2021. So
that's awesome. So you go through your 4 years at UConn, and then you decide to go to Vanderbilt, right? That's the SEC. Some of the best players play in that conference. It's a new environment, it's new coaches, it's new teammates. Like, what was that adjustment period like? That's so many different moving parts. You know what I mean? How were you able to handle that, and how were you able to like find success on the field right away?
So I had dealt with a lot of adversity while I was at UConn, so I feel like that definitely helped with just how tough things were like in that league. I was able to develop a lot of like my work ethic, my determination, my discipline, like all of that was able to increase a lot while I was at UConn. So that helped me when I got to Vandy. But it was still pretty tough because like I'd obviously never been at that level before. It's kind of hard to prepare for something if you've never had any kind of experience with it.
Right.
So even though I did feel pretty prepared going in, there was still some stuff that I was coming from behind a little bit because there were guys I was competing against who had been there for years.
Right.
So I did I started off at the back, had to claw my way to the top, but I eventually did come out as the starter. I think by game 3 of the season.
How was that competing for the spot? Like, what was your mental space at? Like, what is it to the point like because it gets weird sometimes? Like, you're teammates with these guys, but you're also competing for a spot.
Right.
So is it weird where like yo, I'm not gonna really talk to you. I'm not gonna eat at lunch with you because I know I want your spot. You know what I mean? Like bro, quick story. I tore my ACL in 2017 one time, and there was a running back behind me that was like excited that I tore my ACL. So I ask you that from the perspective of like, what was your mindset like? Because some people are super weird. Like, what were your teammates like? Were they cool with you? I mean, like, who's this guy think he's gonna come in from UConn and take my spot? That is real, bro.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I want to know. Like,
No,
what was that
so
like?
that's initially. So when they were recruiting me, I was thinking that like I'm gonna come into. I'm a 5th-year senior, like grad transfer, who has a lot of experience playing the position already at this
spot's
level.
mine.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I'm gonna come in here and start. But so like I did start off with the 2s, which I'm like that's how it should be. So over the summer I started off with the 2s. I'm like, all right, they can't just give me the spot. Like I gotta demonstrate that I'm able to play. Like I gotta earn it. I had like a really good summer, a really good fall camp. So I'm thinking that I'm doing pretty well. But those first 2 games, like I think I played maybe 10 total snaps. Those first, so like I was well within my right to go within the tank and like just kind of like check out. But like with the goals that I have, like I knew where I wanted to go. I knew this is my last season to play before like getting to the league. So I continued to work and then eventually got the spot. But in terms of like just how everybody treats each other, like nobody was like a jerk or anything about it. Like everybody knows what's up. if somebody does end up taking your spot, like you just got to work harder, like just do what you got to do to get the spot back.
Right.
But it's never like
I'll be tight.
never. No, like you might be
bro,
tight,
you just
but
like
like,
my spot.
I know.
That's
So
crazy.
for me, like whenever someone else is playing over me, like I would never look at them. I'm a pretty self-critical guy. I never look at the other person
Right.
as if, because it's not like they went up to the coach like holding a gun to their head like you better start me.
Yeah,
Like
it's never their fault.
It's the coach that made the decision. So I clearly I didn't do enough to force him to play me. So I got to figure out what I got to do to get better so that the coach sees me the way that he sees the person that he put ahead of me. So
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just motivation. Obviously.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? I'll still be tight though, but
that's fair. Like,
motivation.
it's human nature.
Yo, because bro, imagine this. You're a player. You've been there for 3-4 years. You've been the
Right.
starter. Jeremy pulls up out of nowhere like, all right, it's time to compete now.
right.
And he takes your spot, and you're going into your fourth year thinking you're about to be a starter, bro. Imagine how tight you're about to be.
I'm checking
You
out,
know what I'm
bro.
saying?
Hey, you got it. Jeremy got it.
But at the end of the day, that's the game we play, and it's about
Yeah.
competition. And again, I like how you said you're never looking at the other player. You know what I mean? You understand it's the coach's decision at the end of the day, and you're always looking on how you can improve, which is awesome, bro. When did you know, like, your NFL material? Did you like? Because this is a dream everyone grow up like. I had the dream. Davon probably had a dream. He's in here. Everyone grows up wanting to play in the National Football League. But like, when did you like actually know like, damn, this could actually be a possibility for me?
So it didn't become like a reality until maybe it was 2021. So my last year at UConn. So my freshman and sophomore year there, I had some success here and there, but overall, just the experience was kind of like, like it wasn't really what you would expect college football to be like. I mean, I don't know how much you know
At
about,
UConn?
Yeah, I don't know how much you know.
I mean,
about
not at that
UConn.
level. I played D3, so.
So
I mean, they try to treat it as professional, but it's obviously not UConn. Like I played at Moravia, like it was cool. Like
So it's been a minute since UConn. So they're doing better now. They had a really good season last year. But compared to where we were years prior. But the time that I spent there, we were by no means the best team around. I think my freshman
you guys
year,
were struggling. I remember that.
Struggling is not the word. We actually, my freshman year, our defense set a record for most points allowed in a single season. It was
no, bro.
That's the best record to have.
it was pretty bad. So there was a point after my sophomore year where briefly I wasn't really thinking about like making it to the league. I was just thinking of just getting through college because it was just a nightmare every
It
day.
was
Like
that bad,
after
bro.
like we would get our ass kicked every week. I
Right.
would log off social media, just be stuck in my room. Like I wouldn't want to go out on campus and look at anybody.
Right.
But COVID year, like I had a lot of time to just reflect and just grow as a person, as a player. 2021, the first game of the year, we were out at Fresno State. So we got blown out by them. But I personally like played a pretty good game and I had an interception that game. So after that, and just throughout the rest of the season, like I was seeing more and more success, and I was seeing things a little bit differently on the field. Like I felt like I had gotten smarter.
Game was starting to slow down a little bit.
Exactly, and like I just felt it was the most like comfortable that I felt out there at that position. So yeah, that would be the point. Like in
2021 is when you
where I
kinda
was
started,
All right,
you
like
know.
this could really happen. And then going into the SEC, it didn't. So like thankfully, it didn't take me a full year to like make that transition. Like I was able to. I came in and felt pretty comfortable right away, and was able to have like the best season in my career.
That's awesome, bro.
How does that like process work though? So like like you're good enough to go to the NFL. So do you start getting like phone calls? Like do you have an agent and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So like people start calling your agent like, yo, like I want him to work out for my team or something like that. Like, how does that work?
So, where do I start? So during the season, obviously, like you can't sign with anybody like
Right.
as the season's going on, because like all the rules. But you'll start to hear from like different people, like different agencies, like just trying to make their pitches to you, like so that when the season is over, you'll end up signing with them.
Right.
So
yeah.
was going through stuff like that for the entire season. I ended up picking a guy maybe in the last week of November, first week of December after the season is over. So I signed with him. The next thing that happens after that is I ended up getting an invite to the Hula Bowl, which is one of those.
I remember that.
Yeah, one of
Your
those
parents went out to
postseason
go
All-Star games.
to Hawaii, yeah.
So I went down. So it's not in Hawaii anymore. It used to be. It's in Orlando. It was in Orlando this year at UCF.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
So went down there. You go through the week of practice, competing against top guys from all these other programs. You're practicing in front of NFL coaches and scouts.
That's not like nerve wracking. Like, oh, I can't mess up right now.
So-
This is, you know what I mean?
Sort of, kind of. It doesn't feel like anything different than what I
What you're used to, kind
yeah,
of.
what I'm used to.
Right.
I think that playing in the SEC also helped with that because I played in some pretty
Big lights,
crazy
bro. You
environments.
played in
Right.
it. I'm telling
Exactly.
you, the SEC is crazy.
Like Alabama, Georgia,
That's what I'm saying.
100,000
Right.
people. So I got used to playing in front of large crowds and like just playing in high stakes situations.
Right.
So it definitely helped, like, calm my nerves. Like, now I still felt the butterflies and stuff that like anybody always feels. Like that
Right.
stuff is never gonna go away. But yeah, playing in the SEC definitely helped out with that. So had a solid showing at the Hula Bowl. So the way it worked was that we would have practice in the mornings. As soon as practice was over, shower up, get something to eat. We would go back to the hotel, and the second we would like walk through the hotel doors, scouts were blowing up people's phones like, "Hey, like this is so and so with the Seahawks, so and so with the Chargers. Whatever. Like, can you meet me at like this point of the hotel? They were stationed at different points." So like they would go around interviewing the players, like stuff that you hear people who go to the Senior Bowl like have to do all that stuff.
Right.
Similar thing there. So I had like a lot of really good conversations with the scouts. After that, I had like a couple Zoom interviews with a few scouts here and there, but then after that it was just training for pro day and the what was it, pro day or like any private workout that you might have. So did that like the entire rest of the spring, had pro day in March, and then is pretty much like quiet after that from March to when the draft is, because like that's when scouts are like doing all their final evaluations and all that. I think I went to one local pro day after my pro day at Vanderbilt. I did the Titans one.
Okay.
So yeah, I went over there. I ended up having a private workout with the Chargers. They came to our campus at Vanderbilt and worked me and two other guys out. That was pretty good. But then aside from that, it was just training.
Can you tell like which team is actually more interested in the other, or is it all
So that's the
roughly
thing.
same? Like, is it vague?
I learned a lot about this process. So
That's dope.
if you're like a really highly touted prospect, then you'll know who's interested in you. For like everybody will be talking to you. If you're like maybe a lower tier guy, or not necessarily like undrafted, but if you're gonna be a guy who's like, I don't know, maybe has like a 4th or 5th round grade, things are probably gonna be a little bit quieter for you,
Right.
Because just the way it works, like from a business perspective, the more. So all right, let's say like you're a prospect.
Mhm.
I'm a scout. I hit you up and say like, hey, like we're interested in you, blah blah blah. Boom, great conversation. What is the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna go tell your agent.
For sure.
Now your agent is gonna take that information, go to other teams and say, hey, like this team was talking to my guy, like they're interested, trying to
Kind of like up their offer
like-
a little bit.
like yeah. So
Or up their
just
interest
like
in you?
let other teams know that like teams are interested in you.
Right.
What that's gonna drive your
More
market
attention.
price up.
Yeah.
So what happens for a lot of guys is that you might not hear from a lot of teams throughout your process. It could be like the team that you hear nothing from at all that ends up taking you
That's
because
crazy.
they don't want to reach out to you and then end up making you seem like more attractive to other teams. So
Damn,
the
bro,
Ravens. So
so
I
much.
did have an interview with them, a Zoom interview after the Hula Bowl. I didn't hear anything else from them for like the entire rest of the process, and then they're the first team that ended up calling me after the draft was
bro,
over.
that's freaking crazy.
Mhm.
That is crazy. Wow. So what has that transition been like being with the NFL, like with the Ravens now?
Mhm.
Has it been like what's the biggest transition from like college to like the NFL?
I would say at my position, so the speed of the game is definitely a little bit faster. I wouldn't say that people are necessarily like straight line speed faster, but like receivers are compared to college, they're way more polished, so they're quicker and more explosive with their route running, which is it's definitely been there's definitely a learning curve there, because like they're just smarter,
Right,
just
right.
more weathered. Like I'm going up against 9-year vets, and I'm fresh out of college. Like I haven't seen a lot of stuff that they're doing. I haven't really seen before.
And it's like they're gonna try to like expose you
Yeah,
too
no,
because
exactly.
you're,
Oh, for
because you're
sure.
new. So they're like, oh, he's fresh meat. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
blow right by him, or I'm saying
Mhm.
blow in route out route. I don't know what that's called, but
No, but yeah, so it's definitely been an adjustment, but I feel that I'm a smart guy.
sure.
And I wouldn't be there if I wasn't like physically capable of competing with these guys. So I know that I'm going to continue to make progress. I had a pretty solid 6 weeks.
You
that I
found
was
any
there for.
older guys on the team yet that kind of took you under their wing? Like, yo, let me show you how to do this.
Yeah,
young
so
buck?
the main one is Rocky Yassin. He's a corner that they just picked up. I think they picked him up like a month before I
Okay.
got there. But he's a guy that's definitely mentored me a lot. The time that we've both been there for so far. After like every practice, he would pull me aside. We would get extra releases, and he would just be
Oh,
talking
that's
to me
awesome, bro.
about just different stuff. So I've appreciated that a lot. That because we play the same position, so a lot of people might expect like to I'd be getting the cold shoulder. Like dudes wouldn't be wanting to help me at all. But
Right.
he's definitely done a good job taking me under his wing.
That's
so.
awesome.
So-
What are some of the? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Los. My bad.
Nah, it's like, is that like rookie? Like what's that called? The
Rookie
rookie hazing? Like that's like a real thing. Like yo, like go get my bags, little bro.
Maybe
Or,
for-
like,
that starts
other-
in
you know what I
camp,
mean?
right?
No, so Coach Harbaugh, we had a meeting about that. So he doesn't like any of that like aggressive stuff. So he said the most that'll happen to us is we might have to carry equipment one day. If let's say like we're getting taped and the vet wants to like come and get taped before us, they might bump us off the table.
That's
I think
crazy.
so. We gotta sing at some point during.
I was
camp.
gonna say they
So
be having you guys
I
like.
can't sing, I can't dance, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna figure it out. I'll try to make it funny, like make it enjoyable.
Right.
No.
No, that's
like
actually
sing
hilarious.
as a group, like one like,
Individually.
Bro, they
I,
gotta
at
go
least
up-
I think so. I would like. It would be funny if like I could do a duet with somebody. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go up there by myself and just try my best not to get booed off the stage.
Go run laps. Go run laps, Jeremy. Get out of here.
That's hilarious. No, but I was gonna say before that though, like, what was like the key takeaways you got from your vet, like that was pulling you to the side, like, what was the biggest thing that you learned from him?
The biggest. So at this position, you definitely like don't want to overly rely on your hands. You win with your feet first because they're like it's very easy to want to get you want to get your hands on a guy so bad that it's very easy to like start lunging, start reaching with the wrong hand, then your hips get locked, and then your beat initially like your beat immediately off the line. So definitely, it's imperative that you use your feet, like keep your feet moving, keep your feet hot. Use those to win first before you start throwing your hands, and then the next thing is study every receiver, figure out like what their strengths and weaknesses are, like what kind of routes they like to run, like more than others. That'll kind of give you, and also like study how they release at the line. That'll give you like kind of an indicator on what you might get on any given play. And then the last thing would be like, you get into the route. Because like things are moving faster right now compared to college, initially I was kind of in a stage where I'll be like trying to play every single route throughout the down. But when you're able to eliminate like half the route tree and like just play like more like a couple things instead of all of them, then that helps you play a lot faster. So
That's tough. So I want to ask you a question quick. Obviously, do you know what the word motion means? Like, yo,
What
he
the
has
word?
motion. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what that means? All right, I had to make sure. So you're in the league now, bro. You obviously got motion now. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of motion, Jeremy. Like, what?
Not everybody do
Not
that.
everybody.
Like-
Jeremy's rare now, bro.
Right, like-
He's a rare man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, do the DMs look a little different now? Like, are the females in the DMs? Like,
so I've always been a guy like I try not to focus on any of that.
right.
It's hard now.
Listen, I've gotten some followers, yes, but I haven't interacted with anybody. Like I'm
Right.
focused. Like I got a job to do. I went undrafted. So I obviously have more of an uphill battle compared to like somebody
sure.
who's drafted like the first or second
For
round.
sure.
So at least for this year, I don't have time to.
You're like, nah, I
focus
ain't
on all
dealing
that.
with no female. If Los was in the league right now, even undrafted, whatever, Los would be going.
Nah. If I was in the league right now, bro, man. You wanna go, where you
Los
go
would be
tonight,
at the
you know?
club. He wouldn't even be at camp. He'd be walking in camp like, yo, what's going on?
If
What
I
we
was in the
doing?
league, bro, I'd probably be out in like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like some people can get away with that, but I'm not one of those.
Nah,
guys,
right. You
so.
got to know yourself. Which kind of leads me to this. Like, you're not someone, you don't really drink, right?
I've had alcohol in my body twice.
Twice.
Ever.
Yeah, ever.
Wow.
Right.
The first time was a couple months ago after the Ravens called me. I popped a bottle of champagne.
As you
tough.
should. Yeah, as you should.
So I kind of want to know what your college experience was like. So you're like, you didn't go out, you didn't really party, right? You probably tried. Did you try it? Did you try going out and
I
partying?
went out maybe, let me think, probably as many times as I could count on one hand.
Okay, and you were just like, yo, this is not it. This is not for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, our experiences were a lot different. We were wilding.
And that's why he's in the league.
and that's why you're at where you're at and we're at.
So if I did drink more regularly, it probably would have been more fun. But like I didn't have like all like the confidence boost you get from alcohol or anything.
Right.
So yeah, it just wasn't really for me.
Right.
But then also just in general, I had so much stuff on my plate between like football and engineering. I never had my social battery was always pretty low.
Right, I
So-
hear you. So I get it. I went 8-9 months without drinking once, and what I've noticed from it is that you spend your time a lot more intentional with it. So I get where you're at with it, like mentality wise, you're focused on your goals and your ambitions, and you're a lot more purposeful with your time. But you like to cook a lot, bro. I see your Instagram. My boy is a full blown chef.
I mean, did you see the desserts on Saturday?
I did see that,
That was
bro.
you?
So like,
Yeah.
Damn.
like when did that start, bro? I can't cook for nothing, bro. I cannot cook, and I'm like, kind of sad about it because like I feel like I'm about to be 25 and I don't know how to. I mean, I can make an omelet.
But
You know what I mean?
we're gonna move in together
moving in
eventually,
together.
and like that crib is gonna have no food in there.
The fridge, bro. The fridge can be empty, bro.
I'm
yeah,
gonna learn. You're gonna
order
be spending
out.
a ton of money
That-
ordering food.
Yeah, so true. But how'd you start doing
So
that?
it was kind of random. It's something I never saw coming. So my parents they would cook all the time growing up, but I never really cared to pay attention. But 2020, when they sent everybody home for the pandemic, like sent everybody home from colleges, I was home for maybe 2 months, 3 months. That was the longest I had spent at home since coming into college. So I was just in my room sitting in my bed like this, like just kind of bored. Like what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So for whatever reason, I like started to try to pay more attention to my parents like cooking. So I just randomly developed the interest. So it started off with I would ask my mom to go to Wegmans and she would get me like stuff to make pizza. So she would get the dough, mozzarella cheese, like pepperoni, all of that. So I started making like pizzas kind of from scratch. I would post them on my story. People would swipe up like, "Oh, that looks good. Oh, like you should put pineapple on the pizza." And then I would respond saying, "You're crazy. Like, get out of my DMs." Because I find that disgusting.
Pineapple on pizza is crazy, bro.
Bro, my mom.
Nobody in here is a pineapple pizza person, right?
No, I hate pineapple
Please,
pizza.
bro.
It's so
That's
nasty.
so nasty. But go ahead, my bad.
So yeah, it started with that. I'll post that on my story. Then eventually, what I did was I put a question box. So I said like, what else would you guys like to see me make? So I got a lot of suggestions. Cinnamon rolls. When I posted that first one, cinnamon rolls was the first thing that it came up like a bunch. So I was like, all right, let me figure out how to do that. So went around on Google, like I looked up a bunch of different recipes, just like figure out like how to, because I'd never done anything like that before. Like I never baked before. So I was like, all right, like how do you make cinnamon rolls? So pulled a bunch of different things from different recipes, settled on pulled a bunch of stuff, came up with a recipe of my own, and I made my first batch of cinnamon rolls. Called my mom downstairs. She tried one, almost fell over and collapsed. She was like, you need to sell these. So I made another batch, and the Planicas.
Yep.
So I brought some over to their house, gave them to them, and like they loved them too. So they also told me like you got to go sell these. Like you got to figure out how to make some money off of them. So I was like, all right, bet. So I had my mom make me she made me a flyer, and she posted it on Facebook. I posted it on my Instagram story. So I started taking orders from people. So I think the first time I did deliveries, I probably made like 106 or something. I was cooking, baking
Your
all
first
day.
106 deliveries off the
No,
first.
no.
Wait.
rolls, not
Bro,
deliveries.
oh, I was about to say, now you're lit.
I don't
Right.
like
So
that.
you'll make more money like that than in the league.
I would not be playing football. But
bro, what?
nah, so it's like 106 cinnamon rolls. I was up early and then out late delivering. But everybody I've given them to says that like they can't go back to like Cinnabon or. I'm gonna put Cinnabon out of business.
Wow, that's awesome.
So then from there, I was like, it felt really good seeing how people were reacting to the stuff I was making. So I was like, all right, like let me see how much more stuff I could learn. So just over the next couple of years, I was just adding new recipes to my tool belt. And now, like at this point, if I wanted to, I could probably open up a restaurant. Like I know a ton of stuff, like a ton of different
So look at the
dinners,
league don't work
breakfast, lunches, dinners, desserts.
Bro, I'm seeing how passionate he is about talking about this right now, and I'm like, bro, like that might be like
It's gonna be like
an
a
investment.
nice, yeah.
Like once you get paid from the league and you get this big contract, you might start opening up multiple bakeries around the nation. Yeah, has that come up as a thought?
It has.
What would you call it?
So
Jeremy's rolls.
I don't have the one name I actually I'm not gonna say it because I don't want somebody to steal the idea.
Yeah,
So
he's smart.
I'll tell you guys on the side.
He's smart.
Right,
He's
right.
smart. Nah, that's
smart.
so dope,
But
bro.
what if I was in the bakery though? No, I'm funny.
So you talk about you brought your parents up a little bit like since you've been here so far. I've seen your dad travel with you, across the nation, taking you to workouts. You're obviously a smart guy, and I can tell that. I know your mother and how much she emphasizes education. Just talk about how important it is to have both parents in your life and how that's been like your support system.
It's been huge. So I definitely would not be where I am today without either of them. My dad has been more of the football guy my entire life. My mom is
Your
more of
mom's
the
still
education.
learning. She'll ask me questions like, "What does
She-
this mean?" I'm getting better though.
She's getting better. She's
Yeah.
learning. So this all started with my mom because education was what got me in the door to all these places.
Right.
Because I think I said earlier, like I went away to boarding school for high school.
Oh, you didn't even talk. Wait, you went away to boarding school.
boarding school.
Went to
Yeah,
Spain,
you're
right?
right. You did talk
So
about that.
I did go to Spain.
Spain, right.
So side note, while I
He
was,
started abroad at
my
Spain.
what was it? my 10th grade year in the spring, I went abroad to Spain because the school I was at, they offered immersion programs for almost all the languages that they had at the school. So yeah, I did one in Spain. I was over there for about 3 months, stayed with a host family. I took 5 classes, all in Spanish. The host family spoke
Tú
zero
hablas
English.
español, tú lo hablas un poquito.
I can understand.
No, I'm saying.
I can understand. I can't speak it. I could speak it pretty well while I was over there, but it's been, that was what, 2016. It's
Okay,
been
yeah, it's
7
been a while.
years.
If you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I
lose
mean?
it.
I
But
lost it.
that was a pretty good experience over there. But yeah, like without my mom, like I wouldn't have gotten into, the place was called Choate. Wouldn't have gotten into Choate, gotten into UConn, and then Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt, when I was transferring there, I found out that they typically look for people who have like a certain GPA. So I managed to finish college with a 3.3 in engineering while playing football, which is
That's huge.
I'm
That's
a-
huge.
That's
If people don't know
I'm gonna
that's
pop my collar, but
bro, that's,
Nah,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
talk
Los,
heavy,
what was
right.
your GPA in college?
Like
you
a
were busy?
3.8, I think.
Hell
It was
no.
a 3.8, bro. It was a
Is it-
3.8.
All right, we'll just leave it at that. Leave it at that. Go ahead.
but yeah, like so with engineering and football, like to finish with that, like that's pretty
That's-
it's pretty good.
That's major, bro.
But if my GPA had been like a, I don't know, 2.5, it would have been understandable considering everything I was doing.
Right.
But if that was my GPA, then Vanderbilt probably doesn't offer me, and I don't end up there. I don't know, like where I would have gone after that. So education has always been huge, and I truly appreciative of my mom for constantly pushing me and helping me develop good habits. And then my dad has been he's always been in my corner. Always been, I'll do the work on the field. He's always doing the work behind the scenes, like to help
Right,
me get the
right.
training I need, like help me make connections with like people who are just gonna get me to where I want to go. So yeah, they've been huge in this process.
That's awesome, bro. I'm honestly I could tell you have a great foundation, bro. Being around your family, I've had the privilege of meeting your mom, your dad, your brother. Bro, going to your house is, I don't know if people tell you this, but like it's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've been to a lot of big houses, but when you
Right.
see like black people have like that live that way,
Yeah.
like it's inspiring to like see that. You know what I mean? Because it just shows you that it's possible. So I want to ask you this: like, obviously everyone has a dream of playing in the NFL. What do you feel like separates you from everybody else? Like, why did the Ravens choose you and not somebody else? And I don't want the like Hollywood answer.
Nah.
I want you to be. I want the real like, yeah, I'm Jeremy. Like, this is why they want me. Like, I'm him. You know?
So all right, I would say the biggest thing for me is my mind. I've always felt like that's been my biggest asset from high school to now, especially throughout college. So my aptitude for learning is pretty special. One of the main things that they liked about me from the the 6 weeks I spent there for OTAs and minicamp, like they liked how quickly I was able to pick
You're
up
able
the
to pick
playbook.
things up fast.
I feel like I've always been a pretty quick learner. I generally won't make the same mistakes twice.
Right.
So yeah, like my brain definitely helps separate me, because like when you get to this level, even in college, like college and NFL, everybody's
Physically
physically
gifted.
gifted. So like
Yeah.
you gotta find something that allows you to like separate from the rest of the pack. Now some people might be like a little bit twitchier than others. Some people might not be the smartest, quote unquote, but they're just like ball players. Like they're just able to they just naturally have like
That
something
gift.
about them that just allows them to like excel and make plays. And then for me, it would be my brain. Like I'm able to like study stuff, and then it helps me like see things differently on the field, like see stuff before it happens.
That's awesome. So yeah, again, like I said, I brought this up a lot of times, but it's because it's so true. Like everyone wants to be in your position, wants to be in your shoes. There's kids from our culture who always dream of being in the NFL. What is some advice you would give a kid that's looking to play in the NFL one day? Again, you didn't play it up until your senior year. So what are some tips or just some advice that you would give a kid in high school that wants to play in the NFL one day?
So I'll give 2 things. So the first thing would be, if you are a guy that like hasn't played much, like you said, I didn't start until my senior year. Don't get discouraged by that, because it is possible. Like my story is one of always coming from behind. Like I've always been coming from the stocking position.
The underdog.
Exactly. Like I've never had. There was never on any level of football. Well, say for youth football. I haven't been like the guy like the entire time. Like
Right.
I've always come from the back. It's
too.
definitely, that's how it is for. Wow. anyway.
Nah, but-
So it is possible. Like you don't have to be like a 5-star player to make it to the league.
Right.
I think majority of the league are guys who went undrafted. So it's there's always hope as long as you have good work ethic. and like you work effectively. And then so the second thing would be, as early as you can, try to find like some kind of like a personal trainer, like somebody who trains your position.
Right.
Because technique is huge. Like, you know, we were just saying, you get to college, you get to the league, everybody is physically gifted. The technical aspect of it is what's going to allow you to truly excel. So the earlier you can start working on technique, like, you know, for DBs, like go find a DB trainer, and then also find receivers in the area to cover, because the best way to get good at playing football is to play football. So as much as like you can cover people, as much as you can work with a guy who's going to like point out little deficiencies that you have with your footwork, that stuff will take you a long way as well.
That's awesome. So and you have a younger brother too, right? So are you on his ass? Like, do you be like, yo, you better working hard enough?
Yeah.
Because yo, if you ever you met Nick before?
Yeah.
They're like night and day. They're
Right.
two completely different people.
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So like Jeremy he's not really outside. He's more focused. But like from what I hear, Nick is not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nick-
he's a lot more outgoing than I am.
So what are some things you tell Nick, like, you know what I mean? Like, what are some advice or tips that you give him? Like being an older brother and just wanting to see him, you know.
The main
do
thing
his
is like,
best.
so human nature, like people want to find ways to relax, find ways to have fun or whatever. There's going to be time for that in life, but you know, at least in college, like as long as you're there, certain sacrifices are going to have to be made because you have your school life, you got your football life, and you have your social life. All three of those can't be like, the bar can't be like all the way up here for all of them. Like,
Bro.
one of those is going to have to go down if you want to excel with like school, you want to excel with football. So, you know, when it's go time, like when you're in the season, like certain stuff you're going to have to cut out, put it to the side, you know, it'll be there for you later. So that's like some of the main stuff I tell them, like, you know, you just got to stay focused, like in season. And then when it's time to let your hair down, then, you know, let your hair down for a bit.
Is he usually pretty responsive with that, or is he rebellious a little bit? Like, yo,
Some days
like
are
the
better, some days are better
youngest,
than others.
right? Because usually the youngest is usually the most wild one. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? Like, you're the youngest child. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the wildest. So like,
Chilling. That's not fun. You know.
Nah, but I'm confident in him. Like he's a great kid. He has a lot of potential. So I'm excited to see him play this year.
so there's a lot. You got a couple days here now in town. What are you looking to do before you have to head to camp?
So I'm really just training these last couple days that I'm here, and then I go back on Monday. Rookies have to report a week earlier than the vets do. We have like a couple extra practices and workouts and meetings beforehand just to like get us up to speed because we came in, I think, 4 or 5 weeks behind everybody else. So just to catch us up a little bit.
Are you excited to like see guys like Odell?
So
Guys
I've
like-
seen him already. So he was
Oh.
he was there for minicamp. So it is I try not to be like try not to get starstruck by anybody. Because I know that at the end of the day, they're just regular people. Like
At the end of the day,
we're
bleed
all-
the
we're
same
all-
way you do.
We're all regular people who
Right.
could do a couple irregular things. Like that's the way that I like to look at it. But that being said, like it's still kind of cool, like seeing like him, you know, Lamar. In the
Right.
locker
I was
room.
gonna say, it's probably hard to like not smirk. Like if you're like right by him, like damn.
When
that's
I-
Lamar.
when I
That's
first-
Odell, bro.
Well,
That's
I
Lamar.
was trying not to get caught staring a couple of times. But
Because
nah,
you gonna
it's-
have to
it's
guard
definitely
him
cool.
one day. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
once it gets real, and you know you're officially like
Mhm.
you're gonna have to guard him one day, and it's like, yo, all that shit goes out the window.
But these guys are my peers now, so
Right.
That's what I was gonna ask too. Like I was asked. I feel like any athlete I ever see or any famous person I feel like I'm gonna meet eventually. I feel like I want to ask 2 questions, right? So it's like, are you gonna get starstruck with anybody? Or and the second question is like, once you get that big like payday, like what's the first thing you're gonna buy? You know what I mean?
That's
Because
a
it's
great
like,
question.
you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's not. The football money and basketball money, like sports money, is just crazy. So it's like once you get
Bro,
that
what?
big paycheck, like what's that one thing you just want to get that
So-
you feel like you're gonna get?
obviously don't want to get ahead of myself, put the cart before the horse.
Right,
But,
right,
you know,
right.
assuming everything goes according to the plan, and I do get there. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like help my parents out, like pay bills off. Because so we live in a nice place, but my parents do work very hard, and I would
They
like
do.
for them
To maintain that
to-
lifestyle.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I would like for them to be able to get to a place where like they don't have to work anymore. They can just enjoy
Sure.
the rest of
Right.
their life, just doing whatever they want.
Pay the crib off? Is that what you're talking about? Like
yeah.
you'll pay it. That would be
Exactly.
fire, bro.
Outside of that, there's not a whole lot that like I'll probably so I'm not gonna buy. So what I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna buy anything that tells people I have money. So I'm
Right,
gonna get
right.
like
Oh, you smart.
I'm-
You smart.
I'm getting
Old
like a-
family
like a-
member are gonna be like, oh, how's it going? I'm your third cousin. Like that. That
Exactly.
shit would start to
And then
happen.
that motion is gonna start motioning. Like, oh, you got money. Oh,
and then like I don't want to be like driving out anywhere in like a Lamborghini or something. So like people are looking at me, and then I go inside
Right.
somewhere. All of a sudden I come back out and my tires are missing.
You're trying to stay super low key,
Exactly.
regardless.
So you gonna drive a Prius?
So I'm gonna drive
Like-
as long as it looks nice and
But
it
you-
gets me from point A to point B and doesn't kill me on
Okay.
gas. Then I'm cool with it.
That's humble. That's humble.
My
I
boy
like
lives
that.
a simple life, bro.
Right.
And
That's
then
tough.
outside of that, like I'll probably just travel a lot. Like I like traveling.
What are your
so.
top 3 like travel places you want to get to? Do you have some?
So I've been to Spain already, but I want to go back there because I loved it a lot. And then I want to go to the Bahamas and Jamaica.
What was it that you loved about Spain? Everyone that goes overseas raves about it. You know, they say the culture's different. You know what I mean? Like what?
So that's the crazy part. So the place I was at is called Coruña. It's in the northwestern part of it.
Okay.
What was it called?
Coruña.
Karunia. Okay.
It's a little port town, like right on the beach. So I would walk along the beach every day to go to school. But from what I remember, the culture there was pretty much the same as what it is over here. Like everybody dresses the same, like talks the same. Really the only thing that was different was the language. But the music on the radio, it was like early 2000s pop, a lot of it.
Right.
But I never. At no point did I feel like I left the country. Like I felt like I was still in the States.
Oh
to be
wow.
honest. Yeah.
That's special.
But then, so for the last, I think 10 days, we just went on different excursions to different parts. So we went to Madrid, Salamanca, Seville, Granada, a couple other places. Just to go like see a bunch of different sites, like go to some touristy spots. But it is beautiful over there, and the food it is really good. On one of the last days, I had a paella, and it had rabbit in it. Never had rabbit.
Hold on,
before.
rabbit is crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
But
I've had alligator before. Have you ever had
I have
alligator?
had that before. I've
Bro,
had alligator, and I think I had
Alligator
shark one
tastes
time.
good as hell, though, bro. Like
I don't
it's
know about me and alligator, bro. I probably would.
nah. If I
um,
told you like this is chicken and you ate it, like you'd be
I'll
like, yo,
probably
this
think
is
it's right. Yeah.
this is good. It was
If
like,
somebody told me this was rabbit,
so rabbit might be good then too. Like you,
It wasn't bad. It was interesting. Because
Right.
so if I didn't know what type of meat it was beforehand, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But because I knew it was rabbit, like then it was
it
like,
starts to
kinda
play
yeah.
like.
like those mind games, like okay, like ooh, it's weird. I'm
That
eating
is-
rabbit right now. Like somebody offered me frog the one day, like frog.
I can't do that. My dad does that. Like, he'll eat like chicken feet. I can't.
Chicken feet. Like there's a video on TikTok I be seeing all the time. It's like a guy cooking and like dry roasting an alligator, and I'm like, have you seen that? Have you seen that video at all?
What?
It sounds familiar.
Bro, it's like some guys like making he's cooking an alligator, but you can actually see the whole like alligator's features and stuff like that. And it's like,
Bruh,
bro,
that's too
I'm
much.
not. Yeah, it's weird.
I can't do that. Or like,
that.
you ever seen like the pig in the living room where they have the apple, like, and then you just eat that? Like, even that's weird for me, bro.
Right.
I mean, I'll still eat it though. But like,
sometimes I be looking at chicken like, yo, this was just running around like last week or something.
quick,
I don't know if I
you
can eat
mentioned
that.
chicken now. So like, again, my family's from the Dominican Republic, right? So like, we have kitchen with chickens in the farm, cows in the farm. My grandma would literally take the chicken, take it. You were there when she was.
Yeah, your grandma
she
was
would
crazy.
cut the chicken's head off. That would
While
turn
it's
someone
alive?
vegan and
Nah.
yes,
Bro,
bro.
it's
That would
wild.
turn
It's
that would turn
wild.
someone
With
vegan
the
in
quickness.
20 seconds, bro. I was like, my stomach was like, oh nah. But then we ate it later and it was good, bro. So I, you know what I'm saying.
That's
Jeremy,
that lifestyle, man.
it's been a pleasure having you on, bro. You are our first guest ever, so that's
Yo,
special.
ring that.
You know what I mean? Hold on.
How you doing? How you doing?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, it's that one. There you go. So now, yeah, you have a bright future, bro. I'm rooting for you. We're just starting this podcast. You're just kind of starting your career. I look back. I want to look forward in like 10 years and be like, you know, we have millions of subscribers, you have millions of followers, and you're extremely successful, and then be able to look back on this and be like, damn, look where we started, bro. So I'm rooting for you, bro. You know, stay healthy, continue to stay sharp, and you know, the rest is already written, bro. So appreciate you, boss.
Appreciate you for having me.
You know what I'm saying?
brother.
And
And
go
one
ahead,
more
Los.
thing, like if you ever want to get smoked in the field,
You were talking before.
Hold
hold
on. Out of 12 routes,
0.
That's crazy, bro. They ain't sleeping on me, but I'm gonna give it. We
Yo,
gonna look back at it. We gonna look back on it.
right. And that concludes our podcast. Stay blessed, everybody.
All
See you
right.
guys.